There sometimes in people come and ask you a question, and you really cannot answer them, and it's not because you don't know. It's not because you don't know, but rather you know that they're not ready to accept the answer. And the reason why is because sometimes the emotions of a person overrun and control his brain or her brain. So, for example, in the Gemara it says that a woman came into the Bet Midrash and started crying to all the Chachamim, saying, "How come Hashem took my husband? He was a Talmid Chacham, he learned Torah day and night. He did the mitzvot, he was a good person, he was an Eved Hashem, he was a servant of Hashem. Why did Hashem kill him so young?" And the Chachamim couldn't answer her. Now, obviously, they have 1.5 million answers, but none of the answers would suit this woman. Why? Because she's coming crying hysterical, emotional, and no rational answer will soothe her. So what are you going to tell her? Well, Hashem has his own accounting. Technically, we shouldn't even ask any questions. If Hashem did it, obviously it has to be right. That's really the right answer. Or you could say, maybe Hashem actually saw him sin, and you didn't see him sin. So he sinned, and Hashem had to punish him for it. That's also not going to work for him. Or maybe, he's a reincarnation of somebody that was really righteous to the previous generation, and he only had to live, let's say, 30 years in this world until he goes to heaven. So even though all of those answers can be right, if the woman is crying hysterical because the husband just died, none of those things are going to do her any good at this moment. Why? Because she's too emotional to accept a rational answer. What ended up actually happening in that story, in the Gemara says, is that since heaven saw that none of the Chachamim were answering this woman, but she needed an answer, so Hashem sent Eliyahu Navi. Hashem sent Eliyahu Navi, and she screamed again, "How come Hashem killed my husband? He was a tzaddik. He had Yirat Shamayim. He learned Torah. He did this. He did that." So Eliyahu Navi asks her, "Did you and your husband ever become intimate when you were nida? Meaning, while you had your period or before you went to the mikveh? Because there's almost a half of the month, a woman after she has her period, she has to wait no less than 4 days, sometimes longer depending on how long she bleeds, and then she has to wait another, count 7 clean days. So after the bleeding stops, which is usually no less than 4 days, and then she has to wait another 7 days to make sure that it's clean, that there's no blood coming out. After that, which is somewhere between 11 and 12 days, she has to go to the mikveh. So throughout those 11 or 12 days, her and the husband are not allowed to touch each other in any way, shape, or form. They're not allowed to eat from the same plate. They're not allowed to hold hands. They're not allowed to kiss. Obviously, they're not allowed to be intimate. They're not allowed to hug. They're not even allowed to pass something to each other. Meaning, if she has the baby and she wants to give the husband the baby, she cannot give him the baby directly. She has to put the baby down and he has to pick it up. So it's a little bit, in the beginning, it's a little bit frustrating. It's a little bit inconvenient. But when you understand what it means to violate the laws of Nida, you realize this is very easy. Why? You don't want the punishment that you get for violating Nida. It's called karet. Karet is the worst punishment there is in the Torah. So now, Eliyahu Navi, Zachur Letov, asks the woman, the widow, "Did you and your husband sleep together when you were Nida?" She says, "No, chas v'shalom, he was a Talmid Chacham, he was great, he was this, he was that." Okay, fine. What about, did you sleep in the same bed? Did you sleep in, not touch each other? She says, "Yes, we slept in the same bed, but my husband was such a tzaddik that he put something between us. He put something between us, so we never touched." So Eliyahu Navi says, "Baruch Hashem, that Hashem killed your husband. Baruch Hashem. Praiseworthy is Hashem that he killed your husband." Why? Because your husband desecrated the Torah in hiding by thinking that he's smarter than the Yetzer Hara, by thinking that he's smarter than the Chachamim who say that not only are you not allowed to touch your wife, you're not even allowed to be next to her, meaning be in close proximity to the point where you could potentially sin. What's closer proximity than sleeping in the same bed? How can you trust yourself all the time? You wake up in the middle of the night, you had some type of crazy dream, your wife is right next to you, you think you're going to be able to overcome your Yitzhak? Yeah, good luck with that one. It's not going to happen. So your husband thought all the Torah that he learned, obviously did not learn enough Yirat Shamayim, and he violated the Torah, he violated Divrei Chachamim, and praiseworthy is Hashem for killing him. Why? Because he killed him before he sinned. He killed him before he was going to go to Gehinnom forever. So it's good, because at least now he goes to heaven. It's better that he goes to heaven, he dies early, but goes to heaven for eternity. Then he dies later, but he goes to Gehinnom forever. He's doing him a favor, no? What do you rather him live 70, 80 years, but he goes to Gehinnom forever? Or he lives 30 years, but he goes to heaven forever? Which one you better? If you love your husband, obviously you want him to go to heaven. So now, in the Torah, we have a lot of answers like this, that if you have the right ideology, if you think straight, if you think clearly, if you think objectively, it makes sense. If you think emotionally, it does not make sense. Why? You're like, no, maybe there was another way. Maybe Hashem could have sent him some angel. You start rationalizing how it could have been allowed, could have this, could have that. And that's the same thing what happened with Gehazi and Elisha. Elisha knew that, of course, she's not allowed to touch him. But he knew that she's not trying to come on to him, chas v'shalom. He knew that she's not trying to be seductive in any way, chas v'shalom. She was a desperate, destitute woman. So to yell at her at that moment is putting more salt on a wound. So yeah, okay, so she grabbed him. She's not grabbing him because she wants to hug him forever. She's grabbing him to get his attention. Please, Rabbi, help me. So when Gehazi was being overly zealous, it wasn't necessary. The woman is already suffering. She's already struggling. There's no need. She's going to let go. Don't worry. You don't need to tell her to let go. She knows she's going to let go. And that's why this overzealousness sometimes in the wrong place is unnecessary and can cause more harm than good. We always have to, as people that learn Torah, we always have to stay objective and we have to stay rational and always think with our brain, not with our heart. Because if you think with your heart, you're going to make more wrong decisions than right decisions. And especially if you learn Torah, it's the most important thing to do is to not be emotional. You're allowed to be emotional different times, different places, but not when people are asking you questions that literally mean the difference between life and death.